Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 1 hour. All-party delegation starts returning home after concluding highly productive visits to key partner countries, successfully showcase India's continued fight against terrorism. Russia, Ukraine failed to agree ceasefire in second round of talks, but agreed to swap more prisoners of war. Trump says open to meeting both the counterparts in a push for deal. South Korea votes in snap presidential election to choose a new leader after ex-president Yoon Suk-yeol was impeached over his abortive declaration of martial law. And IPL all set to witness a new champion tonight as Royal Challengers Bengaluru all set to face Punjab Kings at Ahmedabad's iconic Narendra Modi Cricket Stadium. Good afternoon to all the viewers joining us at this afternoon broadcast. To begin with the latest, the all-party delegation led by BJP MP Bajayant Panda returned back to New Delhi after its four-country visit, which were Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain and Algeria. The delegation led by Panda includes BJP MPs Nishikant Dubey, Phangnon Konyak and Rekha Sharma, IMAM MP Asaduddin Owaisi, Satnam Singh Sandhu and Ghulam Nabi Azad, along with former Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla. The delegation during their visit briefed the international partners on India's response to the 22nd of April Pahalgam terror attack and Operation Sindoor, its broader fight against cross-border terrorism while engaging with the leaders. Panda highlighted Pakistan's misuse of funds for terrorism and its military, noting that the other Islamic countries had taken a strong stand against any kind of fundamentalism in their country. And I'm joined by DD India correspondent Akshay Dongre. Good afternoon, Akshay. Give us the highlights of this particular delegation-level visit that has now returned to India.
Well, the first delegation has come back, Deepika, and this was a delegation that had visited West Asian countries, including Saudi Arabia, Algeria, Bahrain. The motive in particular as far as this visit is concerned was to make the countries of West Asia also aware of the nefarious designs of Pakistan that are not only destabilizing or rather attempting to destabilize India, but also is going to be quite harmful when it comes to the regional stability as well. Most of the attacks, terror attacks, in fact the major ones that have taken place in the last 2 decades have been linked to Pakistan, have traced back their roots to Pakistan, and in fact even if you go back to 50 years, there have been these kind of terror camps that have been operating with the permission of the Pakistan Army as well as their support and funding too. These things have been ignored for far too long. India has taken an action against the Pahalgam terror attack, and the reason for this action has been ignorance by the rest of the world, especially the West Asian countries who have on several occasions given out statement in support of Pakistan as well. So it was quite important to expose Pakistan's propaganda as well, which has been claiming that the fight is on behalf of other countries that represent a particular religion as well. The kind of action that India has taken has been rational, has been proportionate, and has been retaliatory. Another task of the all-party delegation was also to exhibit in front of the world that India is standing as one right now. The all-party delegation that had gone there to West Asia and to other parts of the world as well, they were not of one single political parties or of any particular communal background, any linguistic background, any kind of other difference was there, but the all-party delegations comprised of all political party leaders from all the political spectrums of the country, and they had gone there as Indians as one voice to raise this voice against terror activities that have been emanating out of Pakistan, trying to destabilize first India, and then once India retaliated, their armed forces came out in defense. So it's an entire nexus that was exposed by the Indian delegation. We have exposed the kind of funding that goes into terror modules, the kind of the kind of moral support as well as military support that the terrorists get inside Pakistan as well as inside Pakistan occupied Kashmir. So all of these pertinent issues were raised. The entire design was exposed to these countries, and while one delegation has come back, others are slated to come back. Two of them are slated to come back today, and the rest will follow in the next 2 days. So this is going to be an ongoing process. The first step has been taken by India to make the countries, especially those who are part of permanent and non-permanent membership of the United Nations Security Council, to take stringent action against all the countries, all anybody who is supporting terror in any form. Also, India has had given the task to the delegation to ensure that the world is aware that any future acts of terror will be considered an act of war and will not be taken diligently by the Indian armed forces or by the Indian government. So all that has been done. Now, India has to continue continued diplomacy against terror and terror outfits, especially those who are emanating out of Pakistani
Thank
soil.
you so much, Akshay, for joining us and bringing us a rounded perspective on the latest development. Moving on, the second delegation that is expected to return today is the all-party delegation led by DMK MP Kanimodi, which is expected to reach Delhi at around 14:45 Indian Standard Time from Spain. Earlier, DD India correspondent Dibyendu Mondal spoke to the DMK MP in Madrid about the outcome of the visit and what the delegation has achieved in this particular visit. Take a listen.
As the delegation completes its 5-nation visit on Operation Sindoor and what India had faced on the 22nd of April in the Pahalgam attack, I'm joined by the leader of this delegation and DMK MP, Kanimodi ma'am. What was the talks like in Spain?
No, it was very reassuring, and I think the foreign minister is already in touch with the Minister of External Affairs, Mr. Jaishankar in India, and he seemed to be very positive and supportive about what is happening, and already they've condemned what happened in Pahalgam and the terrorist attack. We also got the opportunity to explain that though Spain has been subjected to many terror attacks, the difference between what happens in India and what has happened in Spain is that what happens in India is sponsored by another country. The cross-border terrorism has been sponsored by another country, by Pakistan, and these terrorists are trained there. And they also, we've made it very clear that we cannot negotiate with somebody who's sponsoring terror.
How has the experience been here when you have come and met multiple countries, multiple different think tanks, leaders, senators from different countries bringing the voice of India?
Just the fact that, a member of parliament from the opposition party is leading the delegation, and the majority of us are from opposition parties, and there's just one member from the BJP. That itself is a message to the world that India stands as one, and I think in many countries people have, including Spain, they are surprised that that this has been possible.
How were the responses in all the countries that you've been? All are of course friends of India, but despite that, how has the responses been from different countries?
No, I think it's given an opportunity to clarify if they had doubts, and also that we come in person to meet them and to explain ourselves and also to reach for support. Response has been very heartwarming.
This delegation is taking a message for 1.4 billion people that the world stands united against terrorism, and they have been able to convince all the people that they have met, both in the government, intellectual and think tanks, that India stands united at this hour, irrespective of political opinions and differences. With camera person Shailendra Chauhan, this is Dibyendu Mondal from Spain in Madrid for DD India.
Now, part of the Indian delegation visiting Spain, MP Ashok Kumar Mittal said that they clearly put forward the message that though India believes in peace, but at the same time, the nation will not spare terrorists if provoked.
the one message which has clearly gone to the entire world, that India is very strong. India believes in peace. India believes in Vasudev Kutumbakam, the entire world is one family. India believes in welfare of the entire world. But when it comes to terrorism, it will not spare anyone. It will not hesitate to take as much action as required. We will not take more than required. We will take as much action as required, and which will be responsible, precise and accurate. But we will not allow any terrorism activities to be conducted on soil of India. And we will teach all those perpetrators, conspirators, supporters a big lesson.
Now, in a sign of strong relations between India and Brazil, the multi-party parliamentary delegation was today received by the South American country's top leadership, including the Vice President. The delegation, led by Dr. Shashi Tharoor, held productive discussions about cross-border terrorism. TD India correspondent Shopan Saxena gets us details on the meetings and the positive response from Brazilian side. Take a listen.
The long and busy day for the Indian parliamentary delegation here in Brazil today. But it was a productive day, as the delegation led by Dr. Shashi Tharoor met some of the top politicians, diplomats, members of Senate and Congress across the city. The most important engagement of the day was the delegation's meeting with Brazil's Vice President, Geraldo Alckmin, who's acting president as President Lula is traveling abroad. The delegation's day began with a meeting with Celso Amorim, who's a special advisor to President Lula. In the meeting, Dr. Tharoor explained to the Brazilian side how India has been a victim of cross-border terrorism.
Well, it's been a very productive and constructive day. We had an excellent meeting with the diplomatic advisor to the president, who's, of course, the key player. And he's an old friend of mine. He was very supportive and fully understanding of our message. And we subsequently had a discussion with the president of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, who also presides the India-Brazil Friendship Group.
Later in the day, the Indian delegation met the Vice Foreign Minister, Maria Rocha, and Dr. Tharoor explained to the Brazilian side how Operation Sindoor was an operation against the terror bases in Pakistan and no civilians were hurt in the Indian attack.
The acting Minister of Foreign Affairs was very receptive, tremendously warm and cordial discussion with her key people responsible for Asia Pacific in Brazil. And again, I would say very frank and constructive and positive exchange, at the end of which we were left in no doubt that our position had been fully understood and appreciated and supported. We're trying to get out of all of these visits a sense of solidarity with our struggle against terrorism, and I think we're getting that wherever we go.
In the meetings with the Brazilian senators and congressmen, the members of the Indian parliamentary delegation explained to them how India was a victim of terrorism coming from Pakistan. They were pleased by the response from the Brazilian side.
There was a great amount of connection with all the meetings we made, because we are two great democracies. We are progressing along a path of peaceful rise, and we are also part of the BRICS nation. So in all the three meetings I attended, there was a great amount of understanding from the Brazilian side of our predicament. We do want to be a peaceful nation, but without the scourge of terrorism. And therefore, there was very broad support, firstly with the very personal advisor to the president who met us in the beginning, then the Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs, and other members of the parliament.
The parliamentary delegation also visited the Indian embassy in Brasilia, where they interacted with the members of Indian community and some prominent Brazilians.
All the meetings have been very successful in the terms of conveying our concerns against terrorism, which India has suffered for the last so many decades, particularly the cross-border terrorism. And at all levels of the government, in the parliament too, the Brazilians have shown their understanding of our concerns.
After the successful visit here in Brasilia, the delegation left to Sao Paulo on their way to the United States. This is Shopan Saxena for DD India in Brasilia, Brazil.
Now, India's Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla met the President of Portugal, José Pedro Aguiar Branco, in Lisbon on Tuesday. Sharing about his meeting through social media platform X, he wrote, and I quote, discussed deepening India-Portugal ties amid global challenges. During their, unquote, during their meeting, Om Birla also emphasized upon India's unwavering zero-tolerance policy on terrorism and called upon the nations to unite in this crucial fight against terrorism. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. US President Donald Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping likely to speak this week, days after Donald Trump accused China of violating an agreement. Mongolian Prime Minister resigned on Tuesday after losing a confidence vote among the lawmakers. And up next, we'll get you more details about the new marine-derived fungus that shows potential in degrading plastic.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Now, delegations from Russia and Ukraine met for barely an hour in the Turkish city of Istanbul without any breakthrough on proposed ceasefire. Although the atmosphere was subdued and dialogue brief, the talks did yield an agreement to conduct a new prisoner exchange. Our next report gets you more details. Take a look.
The latest round of peace talks between Ukraine and Russia held in Istanbul on Monday concluded with some positive developments. Both Russia and Ukraine agreed to hand over bodies of 6,000 killed soldiers. Although Moscow has rejected call for an unconditional ceasefire, it offered instead a partial truce of 2 to 3 days in some areas of the front line. Russia says it will only agree a full ceasefire if Kyiv gives up big new chunks of territory and accepts limits on the size of its army.
First, we have handed over our memorandum to the Turkish side, which consists of two parts. First, we have to achieve a real long-term peace. And the second part is what steps should be taken to make a full-fledged ceasefire possible. Moreover, in the second part, there is even a variety of options to enter this path or this path. The memorandum is quite detailed and worked through properly from our side. Therefore, the Ukrainian side decided to take it for study. If they study it, they will react to it, and we will see.
Ukrainian delegation gave a list of nearly 400 children it wanted Russia to return, but Russian delegation agreed to work on returning only 10 of them.
Regarding the children, we handed over a list of almost 400 children to the Russians, and they promised us to work out something in this field, but only up to 10 children. This is what their vision on humanitarian issues looks like.
Turkey proposed that Russian President Vladimir Putin, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and US President Donald Trump come together for a third round later this month. US President Donald Trump says he's open to the meeting. Bureau Report, DD India.
If there's only two problems the German or even the European economies are suffering from, it would be Russia-Ukraine conflict and a historic meltdown of trade relations. Now, both the topics tie directly into the United States. And this week, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz will be in the US to meet President Donald Trump. Lars Holter is with Deutsche Welle and joins me from Berlin. Lars, what is on top of the agenda for the Chancellor?
Thanks for having me. Well, you named the two problems we are facing. Now it seems the number one topic on the agenda for this bilateral meeting will be Russia's war in Ukraine. And rightly so. This geopolitical crisis, a war of aggression, in Europe and now in its fourth year. It's obviously the most pressing problem to be solved internationally. And we've been at a crossroads lately after US President Trump has often taken Russia's side in the conflict. He's blamed Ukraine for the war. He dismissed it as a regional conflict that the Europeans were supposed to deal with. And just very recently, over the past few weeks, Trump seemed to have come around again to see that Russia's Vladimir Putin might just be the aggressor and the one who will have to move towards achieving peace in the region. Anyway, now Merz has one clearly defined goal. He needs to convince Trump to increase pressure on Putin, to criticize and ideally sanction Russia, to pull any support from Putin, even if it's just words of encouragement or criticism of Ukraine. Merz will try to bring the US back to the table, hoping that economic sanctions from the US against Russia can force Putin to actually negotiate.
What do we even know about the two leaders who will be getting along, Lars?
That's very hard to say indeed. As a matter of fact, Merz and Trump have never met before, and Trump has not exactly shown himself to be much of a friend and partner of Germany or the EU for that matter. Trump, of course, was breaking with decades-long tradition. After all, the US and Europe have been allies ever since World War II, and the friendship, especially between Germany and the US, used to be very strong. Oh, and Trump even has German roots, with his grandparents hailing from the small village of Kallstadt in the Palatinate wine region of southern Germany. Anyway, Merz has called Trump 4 times now since getting into office himself just over a month ago, and he has made some public comments about these talks. He says the US president seems to find a lot of things great, and whatever is not great is very, very bad. So Merz has familiarized himself with Trump's black and white view of everything. I think he can hope for some goodwill in Washington too. After all, he's a conservative old white man, and he has broken with, for example, the loose German immigration policy established by former Chancellor Angela Merkel, definitely one of Trump's biggest foes. So there's some hope that Merz will find a way to talk to Trump without being targeted by Trump, as South Africa's Cyril Ramaphosa recently was, or even outright shamed in the White House, as was Ukraine's President Zelensky.
All right. Thank you so much, Lars Holter, for joining us from Berlin. Moving on. US President Donald Trump on Monday ruled out allowing Iran to enrich uranium under any nuclear deal between the foes, as Tehran defended what it said was its peaceful pursuit of fuel for power generation. Now, uranium enrichment has remained a key point of contention in 5 rounds of talks since the month of April to ink a new accord to replace the deal with major powers that Trump abandoned during his first term in 2018. Now, as per the latest proposal that Washington had sent Tehran on Saturday, would allow limited low-level uranium enrichment on Iranian soil for an amount of time that has yet to be determined. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi met with the UN Nuclear Watchdog's chief Rafael Grossi in Cairo and said if the goal is to deprive Iran of its peaceful activities, then certainly no agreement will be reached. The remarks came after Grossi of the International Atomic Energy Agency on Monday called for more transparency from Iran following a leaked report that showed Tehran had stepped up uranium enrichment. The IAEA report showed that Iran has ramped up production of uranium enriched up to 60%, which is close to the roughly 90% level needed for atomic weapons. Now, US President Donald Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping will likely speak this week, days after Donald Trump accused China of violating an agreement to roll back tariffs and trade restrictions. Trump said on Friday that he was sure that he would speak to Xi Jinping. China said in the month of April that the two leaders had not had a conversation recently. Trump reignited strains with China last week when he accused China of violating a deal that had led both the countries to temporarily reduce huge tit-for-tat tariffs. Now, former German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock was elected as the President of the General Assembly's 80th session on Monday. Her appointment comes as the regional group that includes Western Europe takes its turns at the helm of the world body. Baerbock received 167 votes following the secret ballot. She becomes the first woman from the Western European group to hold the post and the fifth woman overall to lead the General Assembly. The presidency rotates among the world body's 5 regional groups. At the age of 44, Baerbock is also one of the youngest leaders to secure the top job. The 80th session, starting the 9th of September, is expected to be pivotal for advancing long-term reforms, including the UN 80 initiative and the selection of the next Secretary General before his term ends in 2026. In an acceptance speech, President-elect Baerbock acknowledged the current global challenges and pledged to serve as an honest broker and a unifier for all 193 member states, emphasizing her theme of better together.
In challenging times, we are working.
South Koreans turned out in force to vote in the presidential election on Tuesday as millions of people sought to restore stability after 6 months of turmoil triggered by a shock martial law briefly imposed by former leader Yoon Suk-yeol. The new president will face the challenge of rallying a society deeply scarred by the attempt at military rule and an export-heavy economy reeling from unpredictable protectionist moves by the United States, which is a major trading partner and a security ally. As of 3 p.m., 30.5 million people, or nearly 69% of the electorate, had voted at 14,295 different locations. The polls are set to close at 16:30 local standard time. The opposition's Lee Jo-myung is the front-runner and the ruling party's Kim Moon-so, a former member of Yoon's cabinet, is trailing him. Now, both have pledged change for the country, saying a political system and economic model set up during its rise as a budding democracy and industrial power are no longer fit for the purpose. Let's now take a look at key number of events in South Korea, from martial law to Yoon's impeachment and the election day. If we take a look at it,
Yoon declares on national television he is imposing martial law to root out anti-state forces and overcome political deadlock. Armed troops head to parliament to stop lawmakers from overturning decree. Military issues a decree banning activity by political parties and lawmakers, and troops and police descend on the opposition-controlled parliament. Defying the military's order, 190 lawmakers in the early hours unanimously vote to reject Yoon's declaration, and troops begin to leave. Yoon gives another televised speech announcing he is lifting martial law. The decree was in effect for about 6 hours. They filed separate complaints of insurrection against Yoon. Parliament impeaches Yoon with the support of 204 of the 300 lawmakers in the one-chamber parliament. At least 12 PPP members vote to impeach. Parliament impeaches and suspends acting President Han less than 2 weeks after suspending Yoon. Finance Minister Choi Sang-mok assumes the position of acting president. The Constitutional Court adjourns the opening session of Yoon's impeachment trial within minutes after the embattled leader did not attend court. Yoon agrees to leave his compound after around 3,000 police arrive for a second arrest attempt. He is the first sitting South Korean president to be arrested. Yoon walks free after prosecutors decide not to appeal a court decision to cancel his arrest warrant on insurrection charges. He spent 54 days in jail. The Constitutional Court rules to remove Yoon permanently from office. Government sets June 3rd as the date for snap elections.
And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world in brief. As cocaine production reaches unprecedented levels, the Colombian government is implementing a new strategy to combat its narcotics problem. The initiative involves financially compensating farmers who voluntarily uproot their coca crops. The primary ingredient in cocaine marks a shift in Colombia's long-standing battle against drug trafficking. Researchers at the University of Sydney have discovered a new marine-derived fungus that shows promising potential in degrading polypropylene plastic, potentially exceeding the capabilities of a terrestrial fungus. The team found their earlier terrestrial fungi that could degrade the plastic by up to 27% over 90 days. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Up next, we'll get you more on why J&K's Lieutenant Governor sacked 3 government employees. After the break, we'll get you the latest on changing weather pattern across the country. And a brand named Smile drives women's empowerment in Manipur. Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Time now to quickly recap the top headlines of the hour. All-party delegation starts returning home after concluding highly productive visits to key partner countries, successfully showcase India's continued fight against terrorism. Russia-Ukraine failed to agree ceasefire in second round of talks, but agreed to swap more prisoners of war. Trump says open to meeting both the counterparts in a push for deal. South Korea votes in snap presidential election to choose a new leader after ex-President Yoon Suk-yeol was impeached over his abortive declaration of martial law. And IPL all set to witness a new champion tonight as Royal Challengers Bengaluru all set to face Punjab Kings at Ahmedabad's iconic Narendra Modi Cricket Stadium. Now, big news coming in from the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir as the Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha has sacked 3 government employees, which is the latest update, who were working for Lashkar-e-Taiba and Hizbul Mujahideen. According to the sources, the 3 sacked employees who are in jail are Malik Ishfaq Nasir, a police constable, Ejaz Ahmed, a teacher in the school's education department, and Wasim Ahmed Khan, a junior assistant in Government Medical College of Srinagar. Now, since taking office in August 2020, Manoj Sinha has prioritized weakening terrorism's infrastructure by targeting both active terrorists and their support networks, including overground workers or OGWs and sympathizers embedded in government institutions. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is scheduled to visit Jammu and Kashmir on the 6th of June, marking his first trip to the region since the deadly terror attack in Pahalgam took place. The Prime Minister will inaugurate the mighty Chenab Bridge, which is the world's highest railway bridge, standing tall in the Union Territory. The bridge, part of the Udhampur-Srinagar-Baramulla railway link, has been built to withstand nature's toughest tests. It is indeed a proud symbol of New India's strength and vision. Moving on to weather updates now, the Indian Meteorological Department has issued an orange alert for 11 states, including UP and Punjab, warning of intense rainfall, thunderstorms and potential weather disruptions. In the IMD weather forecast, it has been cautioned that heavy rainfall would persist on the 3rd of June in the northeast Indian states of Assam, Manipur, Mizoram, Meghalaya and Tripura. In a press release, the IMD further stated that the region would continue to witness rainfall activity for the next 5 to 7 days. The weather forecast for Delhi today indicates the possibility of mostly cloudy skies, mild rain, thunderstorms and strong winds. The highest temperature is expected to be between 35 and 37 degrees Celsius, providing some relief from the persistent summer highs. The IMD has issued a yellow alert urging residents to stay weather aware. Meanwhile, the flood situation in Assam has significantly aggravated, with Sribhumi being the worst hit district, followed by Kachar and Nagaon. According to the Assam State Disaster Management Authority, the river Brahmaputra, Barak and all their tributaries are flowing above the dangerous level. Now, rescue operations are ongoing around the clock. State government has opened 165 relief camps and 157 relief distribution centers. District administrations have deployed SDRF teams for rescue and relief operations. So far, one person has died in the district due to flooding. In Sikkim, the first group of stranded individuals was successfully air evacuated from Chaten on Monday. Two Mi-17 V5 helicopters completed the evacuation mission, landing safely at Pakyong Greenfield Airport with 35 evacuees aboard. Apart from the valley areas of Imphal East and West, Thobal, Bishanpur and Kaching districts, flooding has severely affected several villages in Senapati, while landslides have been reported from Ukhrul, Parzol, None and Tamanglong. The authorities have opened 31 relief camps, reported damage at 14 infrastructure sites and confirmed that at least 3,365 houses have been impacted. Approximately 1,599 people have been relocated to safer areas. Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to the Chief Minister of Assam, after which Himanta Biswa Sarma wrote on microblogging site X, and I quote, "I briefed him on how continuous rainfall in Assam and adjoining states has led to flooding and impacted many lives. I also apprised him of the relief operation undertaken by the state government. The Honorable Prime Minister expressed concerns and assured full support from the central government for our relief and rehabilitation efforts. Grateful for his guidance and unwavering support to the people of Assam," unquote. Meanwhile, Chief Minister Sarma also visited the flood-affected Kachar district today. He inspected the district's relief camps and interacted with the flood-affected people. Dr. Sarma assured that all necessary measures would be taken to support those who have suffered losses due to the flood situation. Additionally, he addressed a press conference at the office of the Deputy Commissioner in Silchar, where he briefed the media about the flood situation in the district. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also spoke to Chief Minister of Sikkim and the Governor of Manipur, taking stock of the current flood and landslide situation in the state. Sikkim CM Prem Singh Tamang wrote on X, and I quote him, "Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, on behalf of the people of Sikkim, I extend my heartiest gratitude for your kind concern and support regarding the landslide and flood situation in the state. Our state administration remains fully committed to managing the situation and providing all necessary assistance to those affected. Thank you once again for your kind concern, sir," unquote. And to get you the latest on this, I'm joined by DD India correspondent Subina, along with Manas from different locations. Subina is joining us from Dibrugarh, whereas Manas is joining us from Gangtok. Good afternoon to both of you. First of all, coming on to you, Subina, what is the latest update on the weather situation currently unfolding there?
Good afternoon, Deepika. The situation here is quite critical as there has been incessant rains across Assam and the northeastern states. The IMD has issued orange alert for all the 6 northeastern states, which includes Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Mizoram, Tripura, and a yellow alert for Arunachal Pradesh. Deepika, it is important to note that there was a deep depression which had occurred in the Bay of Bengal, and which, after moving northwards towards its northwest direction, has created a huge cloud formation, due to which Northeast is experiencing intense rainfalls for the past few days. The Prime Minister also called up today the Assam Chief Minister, taking stock of the situation, has assured a full central assistance from the government. The CM is also visiting the Kachar district today, as the visuals you have shown. Because the Barak Valley is the region which is the most affected this time, Deepika. and it has gotten a record rainfall, and Assam has experienced a record rainfall of over 300%. And this time, Sri Bhumi is the worst hit district, followed by Kachar and then Nagaon. So 165 relief camps have been set up, 122 medical teams have been deployed. And talking about the rescue and relief operations, Deepika, 50 boats were deployed all across the state, and 700 people have been rescued, including 130 animals. On Sunday, there was a rescue operation carried out by the Tinsukia district authorities and the Indian Air Force, evacuating people from the Bomji River. The people from Tinsukia district were stranded in the Bomji River. They were evacuated from there and brought to safer places. Today, I am here in the Tinsukia district, and today food supply, animal fodder supplies is being provided for the cattle who are on the other side of the river in a small river island at the Laika Dodia, and also baby food has been supplied. So if you visit different districts of Assam, food supplies rescue team operations are working on a round-the-clock hour basis to provide emergency relief measures to the citizens, Deepika.
And going across to Manas in Gangtok, Manas, what is the latest situation there and what are the safety protocols put in place?
Today at Latsun, basically there is a place called Latsun in Mangan district where around 140 tourists they have been stranded in the past over the past 2 to 3 days. Today, Indian Air Force have placed 2 helicopters into services and along with NDRF personnel. So in 2 sorties, they have evacuated 34 persons that also include injured army personnel and their family members along with the tourists. On Sunday, there is a tragic incident of landslide where 3 army personnel lost their lives and 4 were injured. So today, along with the tourists, they have evacuated the injured army personnel to Pakyong, as you mentioned. And the remaining evacuation drive is supposed to be completed by today evening itself. But due to the inclement weather, the evacuation drive has to be suspended today. It's likely to resume tomorrow at 5 a.m. This is all about Latsun. Regarding Latsung, there were over 1,600 tourists that have been stranded at Latsung. Yesterday evening, they have all reached to Gangtok. So there is no one as being stranded at Latsung in Mangan district. Regarding the other activities, like all the central agencies and state governments,
all right. Thank you so much, Manas, for joining us and getting us the latest. Thank you so much, Rupina, for joining us and getting us the latest from Gangtok and Assam. Thank you. Moving on. On the second day of the visit to France, India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal held important meetings to boost trade ties and strengthen partnerships. He also met with top CEOs from global companies like Renault, EDF and L'Oreal to explore cooperation in transport, energy and manufacturing. Now, these talks could lead to new investment and innovation possibilities between India and France. India's Minister Piyush Goyal also met with France's Minister of Economy and Nigeria's Minister of Industry and Trade, reinforcing India's commitment to global and South-South cooperation. IEA's Executive Director expressed strong appreciation for India's Ujjwala Yojana, recognizing it as a transformative step towards clean cooking and women empowerment. He also emphasized that electric vehicles represent the future of sustainable transportation, echoing India's growing leadership in clean energy solutions.
Ujjwala program, bringing clean cooking to the hundreds of millions of households, is another success story, together with providing electricity access to Indian villages. So India had major achievements in terms of energy in the last couple of decades, which could be a source of inspiration for many emerging and developing countries.
Now, Bharat's first polar research vessel or PRV will be made in India. A landmark Indo-Norwegian collaboration takes shape with the MOU signing between India's Garden Reach Shipbuilders and Engineers Limited along with Norwegian Kongsberg Maritime to co-design and build India's first PRV for the National Centre for Polar and Ocean Research. The state-of-the-art ship will support polar and ocean research, strengthen India's climate science capacity and power the Atmanirbhar Bharat vision. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the country in brief. The National Board of Examinations in Medical Sciences has postponed the NEET PG 2025 examination, originally scheduled for the 15th of June. Following a Supreme Court directive for a single shift examination, NBEMS has postponed the examination to organize additional test centers and infrastructure. The new date will be announced shortly. Hanjabam Ranita Devi, an entrepreneur from Manipur, is transforming local flavors into an empowerment movement through her brand called Smile. The brand's emergence has positively impacted the community, providing an opportunity and potentially also reducing food waste by creating a market for local goods. The consecration ceremony for the Ram Darbar on the first floor of the Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Temple of Ayodhya, a city in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, commenced on Tuesday. The sacred rituals, which began at 6:30 a.m., will continue until the 5th of June, following visits by numerous of devotees who have taken a dip in the Sarayu River. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. India's chess sensation D. Kukish stuns Arjun Arigaisi in round number 7 at the ongoing Norway chess tournament. Big names Djokovic, Zverev, Sinner enter quarterfinals of the ongoing French Open. And Anmatyar culture inspires contemporary artwork of an Australian artist. Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Now it's time to get you all the latest from the world of sports, to begin with cricket first. Now, one last match awaits to crown a new IPL champion as Ahmedabad is all set to witness the grand tussle between Royal Challengers Bengaluru and Punjab Kings on the evening of Tuesday. Both the teams lock horns for one final time in the ongoing edition with an aim to end their 17-year-old title drought. Our next report gets you a pre-match preview. Take a look.
The stage is set for the finale of the Indian Premier League 2025. It's the Royal Challengers Bengaluru who will be locking horns with Punjab Kings at Ahmedabad. RCB booked spot in the final after getting better off Punjab in the Qualifier 1, while Punjab Kings got a second chance in Qualifier 2, where they defeated Mumbai Indians. PBKS and RCB had finished number 1 and 2 in the league stage with 9 wins, 4 defeats and 1 no result each in 14 games. There was very little difference between their net run rates too. While PBKS had defeated RCB in Bengaluru, RCB won the reverse fixture in Mullanpur. While Rajat Patidar's Bengaluru were flawless in away conditions, becoming the first team to win all 7 away games in the league stage of an edition, the Kings were clinical in managing defeats as Iyer's side never endured 2 defeats in succession. PBKS success in IPL 2025 has revolved around their uncapped Indian players, while RCB have traditionally been the home of the game's biggest superstars. They have shed that persona this time. Their captain Rajat Patidar has 4 international caps to his name. Their vice-captain Jitesh Sharma 9. RCB, who finished runners-up in 2009, 2011 and 2016, will be appearing in their 4th IPL final. PBKS have been in an IPL final only once before, in 2014, when they were known as Kings 11 Punjab and lost to Kolkata Knight Riders. Their captain Shreyas Iyer is the first IPL player to lead 3 different teams to the finals. He was captain of Delhi Capitals in 2020 final and led KKR to the title in 2024. Both teams will now set out to end their 17-year-long title drought when they clash for one final time in IPL 2025 final. One team will bask in the ecstasy of victory, while the other will endure the agony of near-miss heartbreak. Sports Desk, DD India.
And now I'm joined by DD India sports correspondent Narayan Singh. Narayan, Rajat Patidar has got an opportunity to prove himself tonight, whereas Shreyas Iyer is no less. He's full of fierce battles, he's full of agony, he's full of that fire. Whom do you think can make a mark tonight?
Deepika, talking about this match, it's the first time any of the two teams will win an IPL title, because we know that last time we saw such a situation in 2016 when the two teams, the new teams were there, SRH versus and RCB. But this time around, the way Punjab King fought from nowhere to at the top, and we can say that full marks to Shreyas Iyer, the kind of performance he delivered in the qualifier too. And if you take a look, he scored a magnetic, a gigantic knock against a team like Mumbai Indians, which has 3 players who are captained Indian team, Rohit Sharma, and they have Hardik Pandya, they have Surya Kumar Yadav. But the kind of performance he delivered there, we can say that it was one of the biggest, highest in the Indian cricket, especially the IPL. And talking about the Shreyas Iyer, the character, the charisma he brought on the table is different. Take a look, his journey. Last time around, he helped KKR to win the IPL trophy. And after that, the credit was not given to him, and the credit was given to Gautam Gambhir. And he left the empire of the KKR, and he went to a franchisee who never won any trophy. If we take a look at the Punjab Kings, there was a perception in the Indian cricket that the Punjab can't win a trophy. They don't have that much of caliber. They don't have that type of players. But Shreyas Iyer, he just induced that kind of confidence in the players and helped that team to be at the top and help that team to be in the final. Even if you take a look at the Shreyas Iyer till the 2023-24.
Shreyas Iyer and the team did to Mumbai Indians in the qualifier too, and finally both of them are looking forward to secure their maiden IPL trophy. Thank you so much for joining us right now and bringing us that latest information with a rounded perspective on tonight's much awaited final match. On to chess now. World champion D. Gukesh defeated compatriot Arjuna Rigaisi for the first time in classical chess at Norway Chess on Monday. D. Gukesh had gone something similar on Sunday to secure his first ever classical chess victory over world number 1 Magnus Carlsen. Now these consecutive victories propel the 17-year-old Indian prodigy above Carlsen in the standings, placing him second behind Fabiano Caruana, who defeated Villiers in his match. In tennis, updates from French Open now. Russian teenager Mira Andreeva on Monday became the youngest player to reach back-to-back French Open quarterfinals in nearly 3 decades after she defeated Daria Kasatkina. The 18-year-old, who's not dropped a set at Roland Garros, sealed a 6-3, 7-5 victory over Kasatkina of Australia in the 4th round. The victory helped her match the feat of Martina Hingis between 1997 and 1998. And before we close, now it's time to bring you some interesting visuals. As emerging artist, Martin showcased the Indian armatire designs in a contemporary way in his first solo exhibition in Alice Springs, Australia. Using native grasses and ochres, Martin creates sculptures and portraits that share cultural stories passed down through generations. His work transforms traditional ephemeral body paint into lasting forms by sealing crushed pigments with acrylic binder. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from the country and the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour.